it makes a cleaner cut if you have a big hole and then come up from the bottom with a smaller drill and pop through. You don't get all the fuzzies. I used to drill them the other way, and then I had to always ream them out. And I discovered that this is the best way to do it. So you support it on that end. And then tighten it on this end. This is spalted wood. You gotta tighten it and crank on it. But sometimes you got soft areas and it'll go in deeper on one side than the other, soft and hard, and you'll instantly make a wobble, which isn't much you can do about it. Okay, so I can turn it on. And that's okay. So from my drawing that I made, that we talked about before, okay, this is going to be 1 3/8 bore on the top, then 1 1/16, 2 3/8 on the bottom, and then 1 1/16. I get all of my Forstner bits from Lee Valley, the high-speed ones, and they got a hex on the end, which is a 2 and this is the first one I'm going to get. They got a hex on the end, but anyhow, they're so long. If I put the 1 1/16 one in the chuck and don't bottom it out, I bring it up and crank it really tight. I don't need an extension. I can drill here and they'll pop through. You can get an extension if you have to. Made by Milwaukee is one company, from a jobber place that sells hole saws and stuff. Bardon Supply is one company that I know of. Probably Markham Machinery would sell them. So you get an extension that has a hex hole in it, and these bits from Lee Valley fit in them nice. If you need, say if you're going to make a tall thing like a CN Tower Peppermill or something, then you want a long one. I met a guy at a symposium in Oregon, well, Portland, Oregon, in 2007, and he was from up by Seattle, and he got the rights to make the Seattle needle in Peppermills. And he was selling these Peppermills, and he bought, you know, there's this chuck, it's called a Esculin chuck, and it fits a Vicmark. Vicmark sells them. They're like, someone told me they're $1,000 or something. Anyhow, it'll turn an oval. We can get, lots of us can get an oval, but this is a special oval. And I said, holy cow, where do you get the money for that? He says, oh, I make these Peppermills. I got lots of money to spend on these. Why am I doing that? Anyhow, so I'm going to turn in. What was I doing? Okay, I'm going to just turn a little bit here and get it flat. And slow it down. And turn it off. You've got a scale in here. Oh, you got an inch scale. So I'm going to... My lathe is metric, so then I'll measure this, and it says I got to go in 2 3/8 about. So that's about. You can go a little more, and it won't hurt. But if you go a little less, your Peppermill knob might bottom out when you put the mill together. One of those there did, and I had to shorten the knob. It was no big deal, but it was a mistake. You see what's happening? It's going crooked. It is crooked. But it's okay, because that's why you drill first. You drill the holes, and then later you hold it by the holes. And then you true up the outside, like those slanty ones. Lots of times the drill will follow a soft piece of wood and go off a bit. But this thing, a little loose. Anyhow, that's the way it is. I'll pull on it. Lost track on the scale, so I got to go another 5/8 of an inch. I was playing around with that earlier tonight. Your lathe probably is tighter than this one. I'm looking for the inch and the 16th, which I was showing you guys. Here it is. So now we're going to go in there as far as it'll go with the inch and the 16th, and then we'll turn it around. When you're pulling the drill out, always grab the chuck, because with all the vibrating and stuff, lots of times you pull it out of the taper. So always hold the chuck. And don't go too far before you pull it out and clean it. Or you could get the chuck jammed in there with all the sawdust. I've done all those things. That was pushing it. So then you take this out, put the live center back in, and center it up. That's one. Ah, here it is. They're all here. I just can't see. So this is going to be the bottom. So according to my drawing, I have to drill the bottom with the 2 5/8 bit. We don't need that bit anymore. 2 5/8 bit, 9/16 deep. Well, this happens to be a 1/2 inch, so I put it in and I bury it another 1/16. I don't measure it because that's what it is. I'm going to hold this thing and try and keep it from wandering this time. So we'll flush on a bit. If you go further than that and you put the peppermill together, the threads will be sticking up too far. If you don't go far enough, the threads won't be sticking up far enough that you get enough adjustment or maybe even get the screw on. So if the threads aren't far enough, you've got to take your peppermill, hold it in a chuck like this, and carefully drill it in. Like this drill will follow that hole and just take out what you need. On the other hand, if it's sticking up too far, you take the square rod, the peened end, you know, the end that's hammered, and cut off the right amount and then re-peen it. So you can't go wrong, huh? There's always a cure. Like those little ones that I make, they're an oddball size, so I have to cut all the peppermills, rods, and I got little pieces of rod in here that I save, which is the correct amount to cut off when I make one. Oh, here's the old Chef Specialty salt mill, the plastic one, and there's those four wings, and they break off. This is a used one I took out of someone's mill. But you can't get them anymore. They made that other piece of equipment instead. Inch and a 16th. This should go through. She's all over the place. That's another reason for boring from both ends. Maybe they'll come together like that. But it's inside, you don't know, huh? Haven't met yet. There. Doesn't sound bad. No, you can't see through it. Almost never can. No, you can't. It's pretty good. It's at about a 16th. Okay. So now we're going to hold it by